You see, this is actually where this is not 1689 now with that act of law that I referred to. This is shortly before they made the Act of Parliament in 1868. In fact, all these, I've got a few acts here and they're all leading up to it, right? It says candidates who are going to be in the election, right? Who shall corruptly by himself or by or with any person or by any other ways or means on his behalf at any time, either before, during or after any election, directly or indirectly give or provide or cause to be given or provided or shall be accessory to the giving or providing or shall pay or wholly or in part or any expense incurred for any meat, drink, entertainment or provision to or for any person in order to be elected or for being elected for the purpose of corruptly influencing such persons or any other person to give or refrain from giving his vote at such election. So it includes entertainments. And it also actually even says, or by any other ways or means on his behalf, right? And also on, before, during or after any election, directly or indirectly, give or provide or cause to be given or provided. So this is literally like what GB News are doing with Rees-Mogg and Nigel Farage, Tice, Lee Anderson, and possibly even Galloway to an extent, although he's not being paid by big channels. But it's to the politicians, and they're serving in Parliament, and they've just got into Parliament due to them being prolific. Being prolific on a news programme which is covering politics and having people employed on there and heavily featured on there who end up getting into Parliament with a brand new party, which isn't being, all the monies of that resource, GB News, isn't being accounted for on that asset, is not accounted for through their political party's election agent. That's this, you know? And also, this is literally exactly what I said about the Act. It goes at least back to 1688, the same time as the Bill of Rights, and it's exactly as I said, in great detail. But this, I've actually got Prevention of Bribery at Elections, 1841, which is pretty much the same. That's 1854. So they were making these little acts, right, and then just continuing them until they actually they opened it up to the courts in 1868, but they didn't take away the right of Parliament to hear it, because here in the committee shall receive the evidence. So this is actually an act for the select committee of the House of Commons appointed to try and determine the merits and return of any election or a member or members. So this includes, like, if the Labour Party have been running for elections and said, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that if you vote for us, and then they don't, because they were making promises in order to get votes, right? So this is actually retained. All it does is, in 1868, is say that the courts may hear these cases, not just in Parliament, in committees. It doesn't matter if it's one member or all of them, or all of the Labour members. You can call it a general election is to recall every single MP, not just one or some of them. So, I mean, I don't think the Electoral Commission are going to do anything about it, because I've reported it multiple times and provided them a lot of evidence. And actually, I actually filled the proper election petition form in and sent it to the King's Bench in the High Court. But there's meant to be costs. But all that was before the formation of the Crown Prosecution Service and the Electoral Commission, who are like taxpayer funded. Why should we, the public, have to put up £1,000 to prosecute MPs when we're paying for the CPA? We actually have the Crown Prosecution Service now, which didn't exist back then. And if they're meant to be biased, well, and I mean, if they're meant to be impartial and not biased, if they're meant to not show bias, so to say, and it can only be an elector who brings it. The thing is, with 3 million people signed, you're going to split the costs through everyone who signed the petition. So that means the cost will be split through 3 million people. So that's literally the tax. It's the taxpayer, isn't it?